Kuhn wrote, in science, as in the playing card experiment, novelty emerges only with difficulty, manifested by resistance against a background provided by expectation. In other words, scientists sometimes, they just do not see what is in front of them.
Alright, peace, what it do? Alright, this is like my 8th time trying to do this video, believe it or not. I just kind of want to show something. I got a message on one of my videos the other day, and I haven't been doing no videos recently because I had a new baby in the house, so obviously my priorities are my family and children, so I just haven't had time. But I'm doing as I can. Bobby Hemmett, I did a video on Bobby Hemmett's birth chart a while back. What was that? Damn, that's crazy how time flies. That was 5 years ago. And somebody left a message on it the other day, right? So somebody came and they said, do you use tropical or sidereal? When I said tropical, they say, isn't sidereal more accurate? And I get this a lot. So that's why. So this is that basically inspired this video, FYI. So I say not in my opinion, but that's what they say. So yeah, I've seen mixed reviews on it. I just learned how to read it. They kind of run parallel to each other. All right. Thanks for the vid. I found Bobby last year. Blah blah blah. I told him personally I think it's bullshit. His only merit is that which corresponds to the tropical. All right, that's my opinion, and I'm going to explain my opinion here in this video. So, the two systems are, one is sidereal, one is tropical. Okay, sidereal, another name for sidereal astrology is Vedic or Hindu astrology. I already had that up. Hindu or Jyotisha. Okay, and that I don't know how to pronounce that. And that means light. That's important because it doesn't mean stars, doesn't mean planets. It means light. All right. Traditional Hindu system of astrology, also known as Hindu astrology. My phone's ringing. And scam like goddamn. And the term Hindu astrology can be used as where Vedic astrology is a relatively recent term, entering common usage in 1970s. I want y'all to peep that. It's important because, okay, I'll explain it later. Okay, so that's the two systems. Okay, the tropical is attributed to Hellenistic Greece. Okay, so they'll tell you that the Greeks created this system, right? Even though we have in Egypt the Temple of Dendera, the zodiac, right? And in this thing right here, I downloaded it a minute ago. It breaks that down a little bit. The Dendera zodiac, Egyptians answer to the Mayan calendar, which is interesting. They say that because the two cultures have a lot of similarities, Egyptian and Mayan. If you didn't know, I'm not getting to that for this video, but just FYI. Yeah, blah blah. The Dendera zodiac is over 2,000 years old, which I believe they lying. I believe it's much older than that, but they'll tell you that the Sphinx is only 3,000 or 4,000 years old, and the pyramids as well. So you take everything they say with a grain of salt. I mean, you should, but if you don't, whatever, it's your business. But the representation of the zodiac in the circular form is unique in Egyptian art. The heavens are shown as a disc held up by 4 women representing the 4 seasons. See the four like in the Bible say 4 pillars. 4 seasons or pillars, right? The sky with the falcon head, Horus. Alright, inside the circle are the 12 familiar zodiac constellations. Alright, some unique Egyptian twists, throne pad, blah, blah, blah. They start talking about this history that they say how it went. Okay. Oh, let me see something. Egyptian times have been able to accurately date as it shows. Oh man, there it goes. I love when I do this type of stuff. Like I be reading stuff and I realize certain stuff as I'm reading. Okay, listen. Egyptologists have been able to accurately date the Sidereal zodiac to 50 BC, as it shows the position of the stars and planets as they appeared at the time. They believe the zodiac was designed as a time clock to mark the precession of the equinoxes from the age of Pisces back to the age of Taurus in 47 BC. As our knowledge of the Egyptian history grows, it seems that Egyptian priests tracked the movement of the stars back to the Old Kingdom, even as far back as Gemini, circa 6947. 6900 BC. Now, this ideology. Let me show you how stupid these people are. We're talking about the precession of the equinoxes. The precession of the equinox. The precession of the equinox determines the age, right? So we were in the age of Pisces, right? And they say goes back to the age of Taurus, even far back to the age of Gemini, right? So they assuming that's as far back as they go. So they started in the age of Gemini, even though they have a 26,000 year cycle, right? That's what the precession of the equinox takes 26,000 years to go to do a complete circle around the zodiac. And their ideology is that they started in Gemini and we now up to Aquarius because 2,000 years ago, Jesus, right? Oh yeah, here we go. Let me show that in a second. Jesus was born, so-called, right? Damn, Franklin's was off. Jesus, fish. You know, you've seen this image. Jesus and the fish. That's because that's Jesus in Greek. That's because Jesus represents the Pisces era. Okay? And 2,000 years later, we have the Aquarian era. That's what we are supposed to be in now, the age of Aquarius, right? Where information rules as opposed to religious beliefs, right? What do we have the last 2,000 years? A bunch of religious wars, the Inquisition, Islam versus Judaism, Judaism versus Christianity, Christianity versus Islam, over and over, etc., etc. Okay, the age of Pisces, the age of religious beliefs. Nowadays, what do? We debate about everything. What we think is right, blah blah blah. We supposed to be in the age of Aquarius. Okay, the precession of the equinox, truthfully, is nothing but the ascendant of our universe at the time. Okay, we watch the stars. The stars is a giant clock, and it goes around and it makes a 300-degree circle, just like everything else. Okay, all we're talking about is cycles on cycles on cycles on cycles, circles and circles and circles and circles. You do a 24-hour day, right? That's 2 cycles of 12 hours, right? Then you do 7 24-hour days. Then what you do? You start right back over. Cycle. Then you do 365 days. Then what you do? You start right back over. Cycle, baby. That's all we doing here is cycling through life. So the great year and the cycle of ascension. Look at that. Cycle of ascension is about over 30 ancient cultures. Let me see. It's about the precession of the equinox. Over 30 ancient cultures have recorded the rise and fall of humanization in a vast cycle of time, taking approximately 25,000 years. Now, remember what this thing just said. They said they started back in Gemini. They believe it goes back as far as Gemini. But yet, over 30 ancient cultures have recorded a rise and fall of human civilization in vast cycles of time, taking approximately. You see what I'm saying? You have to live through something to be able to categorize it. Okay? So, how do you know of a 26,000 year cycle if you're not living the 26,000 years? Okay, this is what the whole point is. This is why people wrote stuff now, is because people are old. People are very old. We human beings are very old. They've been lying to us. All right.
So I'll give a very recent example of that. This is the OH86 finger bone, which was discovered in 2015 by archaeologists at Olduvai Gorge. It was found in a deposit 1,840,000 years old. So this finger bone is, I mean, technically it's called a left fifth proximal manual phalanx, but you can see it there circled. And the archaeologists very carefully studied this finger bone. They did measurements of it, and they compared the measurements of the OH86 finger bone to the finger bones of different species of apes, chimpanzee, gorilla, macaque, baboon. And they also compared it to the same finger bone of different hominid species like Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus. And they found that the OH86 finger bone fit squarely in the modern human group. It was different from any kind of ape man that had previously existed, different from that of any kind of ape or monkey. So here's what the scientists said in their report, which was published in Nature Communications. OH86 represents a hominin species whose closest form affinities are to modern Homo sapiens. However, the geological age of OH86 obviously precludes its assignment to Homo sapiens. Now let me translate that for you. They're saying we've got this finger bone. It's exactly like that of modern Homo sapiens, but we cannot call it Homo sapiens because it was found in a deposit 1,860,000 years old. It's just too old. 1,860,000 years old. It's just too old.
All right. So, long story short, to kind of bring this back to the main point, what separates these two systems is that Sidereal supposedly focuses on the stars, while tropical focuses on the cycle. Now, what are we doing? What did I say? What are we living? A cycle. So you understand? So the tropical, the time it takes for the sun to return to the same position in the sky takes 365 days, approximately 360 degrees. Okay, the sidereal time is a timekeeping system. But this is talking about sidereal. This is not talking about sidereal astrology. While sidereal systems of astrology define the signs relative to the apparent backwards movement of the fixed stars about 1 degree every 72 years. So their point is the constellations, right, that supposedly have some kind of effect on our mentalities, they're moving relative to our position as we're spinning through space, right? The apparent movement of fixed stars is about 1 degree every 72 years now. First off, is there no intelligent design there? If we know that every 72 years is going to move about 1 degree, right? And then just so happen 360 divided by 72 equals 5. Why 72 out of all numbers? Okay. Now, 72 is an important number, of course, but 72 is for every degree, right? 1 degree, 72 years. So you got 30 degrees in a sign. So you do 72 times 30, right? And you get what? 2,160. This is the length of your age or of your era, of your Pisces era, Aries era. See, in the Bible, remember they was talking about here, they think they went back to Gemini. In the Bible, Jesus represents the Pisces era. The shepherd kings of the Old Testament, the shepherd kings, they represent the age of Aries. The shepherd leads the goats, leads the lambs, right? The Lamb of God, the Lamb is representative of Aries, is a representative of Aries. Okay, that's why that's what the shepherd kings came in, and they had a war or whatever. I don't remember the exact story. You can go into it if you want to, but that was a representation of the age of Aries. And then when they was worshiping the golden calf, the golden bull, right, or whatever, that was a representation of the age of Taurus. You see what I'm saying? The bull, the cow, the horns, Taurus. All right, so that's what it is. And then Jesus even says, look for a man carrying a pitcher of water. Okay, bam. So that is representation of the age of Aquarius. It's I think it's follow him or something like that. So there you go. Forgive me, I got a cold. I don't mean to be sniffling all in the mic. but that was as representative of the age of Aquarius. You understand what I'm saying? So we living in a giant cycle, right? So 2,160, that's 2,000 years roughly for every age, right? Now you do that times 12, because it's 12 signs, right? And then you get 25,920, the great year. You see what I'm saying? This all this we talking about a cycle. So their ideology is that they're not the same because one is off. One is on 0 degrees. Tropical defines 0 degrees Aries, while the sidereal defines 0 degrees. I believe it's like 2 degrees Pisces or something like that, because it's 23 degrees behind, right? What the hold on? Or 23 degrees behind tropical. So yeah, so they would have to put 0 degrees in Pisces somewhere, right? According to where the stars are or whatever. But what I'm telling you is that up there, the stars, that's just a clock for astronomistic purposes. You see, if we get into Vedic astrology, Hindu astrology, they'll tell you that it was for astronomy, not astrology. Okay, hold on. 36 about astronomy. Okay, astronomy is just knowing where the stars are. You understand what I'm saying? Astronomy doesn't take into account of anything of that having anything to do with your psyche. It just wants to know where things are, so we know what time it is, so we know what era we are in as a people, as a society, as a civilization. Okay, that's my point. But I'm gonna show you. Some scholars believe that the horoscope astrology practice of the Indian subcontinent came from Hellenistic influences. There you go. Hellenistic is Greek. All right. Greek is Phoenician or Moors. However, this is the point of intense debate, and some believe that it developed independently, although it may have interacted with Greek astrology. Okay, sure. So let's go to the etymology, and we go to. I don't care about the etymology specifically. Oh look, take that back. Joyce, however you pronounce this word, includes the study of astronomy, science of timekeeping. It's aimed to keep time. Okay, so let's look. They'll tell you the truth. All right, joy is one of the 6 auxiliary disciplines used to support Vedic rituals. Early Jedi is concerned with preparation of the calendar to determine dates. Nothing written regarding planets. Okay, now this is what they telling you is supposed to be more ancient, right? Okay. There are mentions of eclipse causing demons in the The later mentioning Rahu did a shadow entity believed to be responsible for eclipses and meteors. The term Graha, which is now taken, this is important, now taken to mean planet, originally meant demon. Okay? So what they are doing is they are confounding two systems to make one seem historical. Okay, this sidereal system that is very, very, very modern, they're attributing it to the Vedic to make it seem historical and ancient, when in actuality it's a new ideology. Okay, the Rig Veda also mentioned eclipse causing demons, not applied until later. Okay, the foundation of Hindu astrology, peep this. Foundation of Hindu astrology is the notion of Bandhu of the Vedas, which is a connection between microcosm and macrocosm. Practice relies primarily on sidereal zodiac, which differs from the tropical used in Western, and that the animadas, a Sanskrit term used in Hindu astrology to account for the precession of the equinox. Okay, and that the animadas adjustment is made for the gradual precession of the vernal equinox, which I already explained. The Hindu astrology includes several nuanced subsystems, interpretation, predictions, which elements not found in Hellenistic astrology, such as the system of lunar mansions. Now, just real quick, this right here is the only thing that I will give credence to in this so-called Hindu astrology is these lunar mansions, because The moon takes 28 days to go through its cycle. That's why you have, oops. That's why you have 7 days. Was it 7 days waxing? No, it's like 14 days waxing. Forgive me, I got a cold. 14 days bad eating bad. Okay, just bad eating. 14 days waxing, and then 14 days waning. Or it's the other way around. I can't remember waxing or waning, but either way it go, it's a 28 day cycle. That's what the moon. That's why the moon takes. Let me show you something just real quick while we're here. The moon takes 13. It's a bad way to cycles. Damn, I spelled it wrong. The 13 sign moons. See, the moon goes through the zodiac 13 times in a year. All right, see, 28 times 13 is 364. It's 365 days in a year. You see what I'm saying? So the moon goes through the cycle 13 times. So because it's 28 days for each cycle. And that's the reason why, just FYI to the black folks, that's the reason why Black History Month is February, because this is your science right here. And February, the only month that has 28 days, because the true definition of a month is a moon cycle. So, okay, February is the only real one, and that's why they give black people, the original people, that month for their so-called history. You see, it's a slap in the face. Same thing with April Fools. April Fools, which I've explained, and Morris have explained, was originally the first day of the year, because, like this tells you, tropical systems define 0 degrees of Aries to coincide with the vernal point. The vernal equinox was the beginning of the year. This was March 20th, 0 degrees Aries. So we celebrated the new year April 1st. You see? So now it's April Fools, right? Because you a fool if you believe in the old ways versus this new made up dumb shit of officious moving in your goddamn area or some old dumbass shit. But anyway, okay, so that's the whole thing on the April Fools. But my point, to get back, was the lunar mansions. If you study the lunar mansions inside in Hindu astrology, because the lunar mansions correspond with the tropical, because they have to. I mean, it's the moon cycles, 28 days, blah blah blah. So I would put some credence in that, but that's it. The rest of it, personally, I throw it away. I ain't paying attention to it, because, like I say, I only believe it holds credence when it's overlapping the tropical interpretation. So it was only Pete. So back to this. It says it was only after the transmission of Hellenistic astrology that the order of the planets in India was fixed in that of the 7-day week. So they wasn't even dealing with planets like that until after the Hellenistic astrology. Pete, Hellenistic astrology and astronomy also transmitted the 12 zodiac signs.
Damn. I'm sorry.
Beginning with Aries and the 12 astrological places, beginning with the ascendant. From Hellenistic, the first evidence of the introduction of Greek astrology to India was that word, which dates to the early centuries. That word literally means sayings in Greek. Sayings of the Greeks. Remember, Greeks is Phoenicians. All right, and no, it's not white people. It's not. It's just not. I'm sorry, y'all people. Y'all made that up. All right, I show a video. The book. I showed a book in the video. Y'all made that up. Cut it out. Anyway, it was translated from Greek to Sanskrit by that during the 2nd century, and it's considered, Pete, this is the nail in the coffin. One of them. It's considered the first Indian astrological treaty in Sanskrit language. Okay, so you see, like, what are we talking about? The whole Vedic astrology comes from the Greek, the tropical astrology. And once again, the so-called Greek is really the Phoenicians. All right. So, lastly, If that don't prove, if that don't explain it to you, I don't know what will. But lastly, okay, Sidereal versus Tropical, right? Who is this person? Sidereal Fagan. I hope I Cyril. Born in Dublin, Ireland, May 22nd, 1896. I'm gonna look up his chart for the hell of it. And died in Arizona, United States, January 1970. When did they say Vedic astrology became popular? Hold on. He was in the 1970s. Watch this. Alright, so he died. So when he died, was an Irish astrologer. Listen, now this is the nail. Yeah, this is the dirt going over the grave, the body of Sidereal astrology. All right, I'm putting the dirt on. It's already in the ground. Sorry, the coffin already nailed shut with the last thing I read down here. All right, but this right here is putting the dirt on it. Okay, we burying. I want to bury this. Okay, the truth is objective. There's only one truth. All right, I'm tired of this. Everybody talking about they got their own truth. No, you have your perspective. You have your opinion, and that's respectable and that's understandable. But there's one truth. All right. When people read, when you look up a Sidereal astrology, people gonna say you can use both. I know you can't. I mean, you can do what you want to do, obviously. But what I'm telling you is, it's one truth out here. All right, astrology, tropical astrology. Before I throw this dirt on here, let me sum this up. Tropical astrology is a mythology about the cycle of electromagnetic energies of the earth. All right, that's what it is. It has nothing to do with planets, stars, constellations, none of that shit. I'm telling you, it's as above, so below. That up there is a mirror reflection of what is going on down here on the inside, on the unseen. And that is what we call the ether. All right. And or in quantum physics will be the electromagnetic spectrum. And that's it. And that's all we dealing with here. All right. So let me finish this. This person, let me Google my guy so y'all see who y'all daddy is. I want y'all to know who y'all daddy is. You people coming to me with this fucking Sidereal astrology stuff. This guy, this is your pops right here. Looks like a good dude. You know, I mean, you know, he trying to teach the science of the ancients. You know, I don't see no Freemason stuff associated with him. So, you know, he was just doing his thing. But this guy right here, Sidereal Fagan, right, generally considered the father of Sidereal astrology. But before I end this, look at this right here. Alongside, let me try to Google my guy here. Let me see, because I don't know which one of these people it is. It's probably this person. Professor, one of Britain's foremost. Let me see. Like him who was key to crime. I doubt that's him. It may be him though. He was born in 19. Nah, I doubt it. Cause they talking about look. But anyway, Donald A. Bradley, okay. Excuse me, my apologies, man. I got a cold. This person is considered the father, alongside this person, the mother. Okay, these are two men. One is considered the father, and one is considered the mother. Of Sidereal astrology. I'm done, man. I'm done. Like, what are we talking about? So next time y'all come, y'all, you know, you want to talk about Sidereal astrology being more accurate, thank your daddy. That's your daddy right there. Some guy from Ireland is more intelligent and knows more about the universe than 30 different ancient cultures. Right? Who all been practicing regular tropical astrology. Okay, and I say that because they already claim it all comes from Greek, but the Greek admits in their writings that they got everything from Egypt. Okay, and then we got stuff like this in Egypt. Okay, so it is what it is, man. This your daddy if you believe that type of stuff. Take it easy.
Years. The archaeologists refused to accept that. According to their understanding, human beings capable of making those artifacts did not exist anywhere in the world 250,000 years ago. And what to speak of being present in North America? The dominant consensus now is that there are no humans in North America any earlier than about 20,000 years ago. So Virginia Steen McIntyre and her colleagues decided to independently publish the age for the site, which they did in this scientific journal. But when they did that, they experienced an extreme negative backlash from their colleagues in the scientific world because they had dared to publish something that radically contradicted the dominant paradigm. Virginia Steen McIntyre wrote, not being an anthropologist, I didn't realize how deeply woven into her thought the current theory of human evolution has become. Our work at Wyatt-Lacko has been rejected by most archaeologists because it contradicts that theory, period. So here's a more recent example of this knowledge filtering process. In 2013, archaeologists discovered footprints at Hubbiesburg in the United Kingdom. The footprints were found in deposits that were between 780,000 and 1 million years old. The archaeologists very carefully studied the footprints. For example, they measured what they call the foot index, in which you divide the width by the length and multiply by 100. The average foot index for the 152 Hubbiesburg prints was 39, which is just about the same as the foot index of living populations of anatomically modern humans. Now, of course, the archaeologists did not believe that anatomically modern humans were present in Europe almost 1 million years ago, so they decided to attribute the footprints to a hominin that they believe existed in Europe at that time, Homo antecessor. So this is one way in which the knowledge filtration process works. Scientists will interpret evidence in a way that doesn't violate their expectations. And we all have expectations that determine the way that we look at things. For example, many people will look at these cards and see nothing wrong with them, but actually they're altered. And this is part of a famous psychological experiment that was carried out. You know, the researchers took a deck of cards, a normal deck of cards, and then they altered some of the cards. Like you see the 6 of spades, which normally would be black, they turned it red. So they took this deck of cards and they showed the cards to people one at a time and asked if they noticed anything. And 99% of the people did not notice anything wrong with any of the cards, even though they were altered. In other words, they saw what they were conditioned to see. They saw not what was actually in front of them, but what they expected to see. And scientists often do that. Kuhn wrote, in science, as in the playing card experiment, novelty emerges only with difficulty, manifested by resistance against a background provided by expectation. In other words, scientists sometimes, they just do not see